All righty. Guys, I'm gonna be on my phone looking at the line, so it's gonna look funny. Looking off the camera and stuff, but um, just wanted to talk a little bit of sports betting tonight. This isn't any formal thing. This ain't RC Sports. This ain't nothing. It's just gonna be a live stream. Um, if you do like it, subscribe to the channel. But it's Friday night. Got a few RareCandy episodes recorded, working off a backlog, kind of taking a little time off before the holidays, or the holiday, I should say, of Thanksgiving. And yeah, just wanted to have a little fun tonight. So got a beer going, drinking a Moonraker, hazy IPA, really feeling fancy, feeling good. It's been a good couple days. So sports betting. I'm watching the Lakers right now. Lakers are on TV. Lakers are up 38-30 against Boston. Boston stinks, man. Let me tell you that much. Lakers aren't great, but Boston kind of stinks. And I do. Oh, and if you are tuned in, if you want to hit retweet on the link that I posted on Twitter at RareCandyPod1, yeah, feel free to do that. If not, hey, no worries. It's not your obligation. Just be a nice thing. But yeah, it's crazy. I remember when I first started sports betting. I had never done it before. My dad took me to Reno for my 21st birthday, and it was kind of a situation where my dad had missed doing it. Like, he had done it with his golf buddies, and I think it was something he'd look forward to for my 21st. So he takes me to Reno, right? And Reno, if you've never been to like a sports book or anything, and people always go like, or if you're not like really a Vegas person, some people will be like, what's the difference between Vegas and Reno? And I would say that, like, Vegas is definitely, first off, it's not cheap anymore. You know, your hotel's going to run you quite a bit of money. You got to spend a lot of money to get any kind of perks. And you got to, you're not going to get comped anything. You know, all that kind of stuff. But when you go to Reno, man, you could really slum it. You could go to some shitty casino that has a hot dog and a Budweiser. There's a place called Cal Neva in Reno, and it is like a scum bar. It looks like the place where fucking Pee Wee Herman knocked over all those motorcycles in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. It's like that on the inside, but they have a sports book. It's like a projector, and it's the funniest thing in the world, man. So my dad and I are there one time. This wasn't for my 21st. I'll get back to how I actually got into it, but I don't want to forget this story. For my 21st birthday, or for, I think this was probably when I turned 24 or 25. We go every year for my birthday. And this chick, right, like, works in there, and she's probably like in her 30s. And she's like serving hot dogs and beer, because they had a special. It was like for like $2, you get like a Bud draft and a hot dog. And it was a pretty decent hot dog. So we'd always get that every time. And all of a sudden, like, she's serving a hot dog and there's a line, and she goes, sorry guys, puts that little close placard in the front and is like, sorry guys. And then she says, all of a sudden, like, some White Snake comes on, here I go again on my own, that comes in. And then she starts literally going up there and pole dancing. So goes away, takes off her little casino jacket and starts pole dancing for the whole song, comes back, and then starts serving hot dogs. Wild, dude. Wild. And it's all a bunch of bikers, bunch of like biker guys, and like just degenerates, dude. More people than teeth. Let me tell you that much. More people than teeth in the room. And so then, okay, let's get back to my 21st birthday. My 21st birthday was in Reno, and they take I get to the first place, and my dad's like, okay, you want to place your first bet? And it's college football Saturday when we get there. and I'm betting on Clemson, and I hit this bet. And I don't think I'd be gambling anymore if it wasn't for that. Honestly, I hit my first one. And so I placed the bet on Clemson. I like Clemson. I put down like $20 on Clemson to cover like 5 points. So I can't remember what the spread was, but so this lady's wearing a Reno, Nevada, University of Reno Colin Kaepernick jersey. He's huge. He's fucking royalty there at the time. I don't even think he's in the NFL yet. If he is, he'd only been there for a year and not starting yet. And she looks at me and I place the bet. She goes, "Can I see your ID?" And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Show her the ID and she goes, "Oh, it's your 21st birthday." I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Welcome to gambling. Don't let it ruin your life." Hands me the card. I didn't listen to her. No, I'm not a gambling addict. Truly, I enjoyed sports betting. However, I have come to realize that I am not meant to bet on sports every night of my life. I am not meant to bet on baseball unless it's like the World Series or something like that. I'm not meant to bet on NBA, and I'm not meant to bet on college basketball. Betting to me is like a weekend activity. I'm a weekend warrior, right? So my strategy for betting is always I take about 3 or 4 college bets. I play like $5-10 at a time, like nothing. I'm not playing with big units as the big dogs say. So I'm playing with like $5 or $10 at a time. And I'll take about 3 or 4 college bets, typically bigger games. I'm not usually like let's bet on, Eastern Kentucky versus Southern Illinois. I'm not typically that type of guy. I don't even know if those teams play each other. So you can call me out if that was the case. And I'm going to put this in our Discord link here just to see if people want to come join. But I like to do 4 college bets, and then I bet the board on Sunday. I bet the entire board like of NFL games. I pretty much take I take like all the college games, or all the NFL games, either a over or under or a spread. I typically touch all of them. I don't have that kind of discipline. So it's like I'm an NFL gambling addict, I think. I've come to realize that. It's like being addicted to weed in Half Baked. You know what I mean? Like where nobody takes you seriously. You know what I mean? In weed rehab or something like that. Like, oh, I'm addicted to weed. Will you ever suck the dick for coke? No. Like to me, some people will say like, oh, I bet on the NFL. I'm in some group chats and they're like, oh, you don't bet on women's volleyball or WNBA? Like you don't think the Chicago Fire, you don't do any MLS betting and stuff? No, I don't. And if you do, there's hotlines you should call. I mean, truly, like I just play small units and I bet a lot of games, and I park my ass on the couch every Sunday and I watch NFL games. I watch it. Luckily, I'm married to a woman that tolerates football. She likes it on Sundays. She does her thing, sits on the couch a little bit, watches the game, boom, 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 does some regular people Sunday stuff, comes back, watches a little bit. She really loves Sunday night football, which I do too. Sunday night football is elite. And by the way, before I go on, I think people are sick in the head for hating on Thursday night football. It's something I see on Twitter. It's very common. I don't like when people hate on Thursday night football. Thursday night football is a blessing. It was created by God and was given to us to enjoy on Thursday night football. Now, some people say, well, the matchups always suck. The games are long and grating, and there's typically not a lot of action. Okay, what better week than a Thursday? Or what better day of the week than a Thursday for that to happen, right? What is a Thursday? What is a Thursday in your work schedule? It's a little cock tease because it's not Friday, right? It's probably the longest day of your week, maybe other than Monday, but probably your longest day of the week because Thursday you're waiting for the weekend typically. And then you have you still have to wait a couple days before the real action happens. And that's why I think it's a perfect metaphor. I think like when I see a really good Thursday night game, like, of course I'm invested. I love it, but I'm like, man, that's not typically a Thursday night game, right? If it's 35-30 back and forth game, action, big plays, touchdowns. No, I want to see fucking circus sounds or like America's Funniest Home Video, like whoopee cushion sound effects when a quarterback fumbles a snap and then the center picks it up and runs 3 yards, fumbles it, and then the defense recovers it. That's a Thursday night play. I want to see a kickoff return, like taken to the house. I want to see an onside kick. I want to see some like really crazy stuff. I want to see like a one-handed catch that off a guy's helmet and stuff. And I want to see backup quarterbacks. That's another thing I love about Thursday night football. Backup quarterbacks, man. I want to see like all types of. I just want to see. Bring out all the crazy stuff, man. This is like understudy night for plays and stuff. So cherish Thursday night football. It's an absolute blessing. It's an absolute blessing. And the uglier it is, the more Thursday it is, and that's why it's there. So let's talk a little NFL. Let's talk a little NFL. I'm going to go over some lines here that I like. I mean, I'm probably going to go through all of them, to be honest, because I am going to bet all of them. Let's start with my Raiders. I get asked that a lot weekly, almost. What do people like? I take the Bengals. I'm telling you, it's November. Raiders, they're on their downslide. It does not get better after this. Like, they might cover a couple of games when you have what the Raiders do almost every year. The last 3 years, they've been 6-4 around this time. Now they're 5-4. So maybe that's the case for you to say they're going to become 6-4 after this. Maybe you're going to use that trend that way. I wouldn't. I think they were hitting their demise really early right now. And I think I would fade them constantly until they start becoming like 6-point dogs. Then you start taking them. All right. See what I'm saying? Get them at their bottom, get them down to their bottom, because they start hot every single year, and then they start becoming favorites in Vegas's eyes. And then they become, then they just become like a top 5 drafting team, like picking top 5 in the draft. So yeah, I would take the Bengals in that one. I think some books have it Bengals -1.5. I would take it, just hammer it. I trust me. I don't see the Raiders winning that game. I understand. And the Bengals are coming off a bye too. Bengals have Joe Mixon. I think they're gonna paper cut the Raiders to death. Maybe a couple big plays for them on defense, because the Raiders' offensive line is a sieve. So let's go. Colts and Bills. Bills -7 over the Colts. Take the Bills. Take the Bills. Absolutely. Hammer the Bills. Hammer it. The thing I love about betting on the Bills, now they fucked up against Jacksonville, and I think people still have that in their head. People are crazy. Every good team has just that week where they shit the bed. But the thing about the Bills is when the Bills are up by 3 points in the fourth quarter, or even like 6 points in the fourth quarter, and they got to cover a double-digit spread, Josh Allen doesn't give a fuck. He'll just air that shit out down the field. They're not running the ball. They're not packing it in. They're not thinking about next week. He's like, no. Manuel Sanders, deep post. Stephon Diggs, deep crosser. Let's go. Dagger mode. And I bet on teams like that. And the Colts, look, Jonathan Taylor is good, but the Bills defense, I think, can stop the run. I think they have the horses to do it. And Carson Wentz has been better than I thought he'd be this year, but I still don't think he's that good. I think the Bills at home, starting to get cold. We're talking about a dome team going to a cold spot late November. I like the Bills -7. Let's see. Ravens and Bears. This line has already gone down. Now, my strategy, and I agree, I actually learned this from the PFF forecast, which if you want to add that to my beta traits, that's totally fine. I do listen to PFF, but the PFF says you get the most value when you bet early in the week. Now with COVID, with the live pandemic and stuff like that, you might get Fauci flu that ruins your bet, right? Like if you were a guy maybe last week who had Steelers -5.5, and then Ben Roethlisberger doesn't play, then you watch Mason Rudolph, who I swear to God is like, look, everybody's family did incest at some point, like back in the day, like your ancestors and stuff. His family didn't stop, I don't think. He's just an odd looking guy. That's all I'm going to say. And he sucks. He sucks. And that ruined me because I took the Steelers early in the week because I thought that line would go up like Steelers -7.5 after a while. But then Ben gets COVID Saturday night, Fauci flu. He ends up screwing you. But for the most part, like for this example, I took the Bears getting 6.5 points at home against the Ravens. Now, this could totally blow up in my face. I could totally see this being a Lamar lights the world on fire game. But Justin Fields is starting to play a lot better. And the Ravens are one of those teams that people automatically think have a good defense. You ever know those teams? The Ravens, the Steelers, and there's a few other teams, like maybe even the Bears, honestly. There's teams where people are like, oh, their defense is good because that's the team. They're that team. The Ravens don't have a good defense. They can stop the run, but the Bears don't really run it that well. And, Fields, I think if they, Fields is a guy, they're going to blitz Justin Fields, but there might be a couple plays where Justin Fields catches them in that blitz and they get that zero blitz with no safety back there. And I can see a couple big plays really keeping this game within a touchdown or even a field goal. Maybe Justin Tucker seals this game late, breaks the tie, wins it with a field goal. But I like taking home dogs over 3 points, man. Unless the team is just completely inept, unless you're talking Houston Texans, Detroit Lions, like really bad teams, which the Bears aren't good, but I think they're trending good, like trending in the right direction with Fields. And I think he's only going to get better. I liked him there. Now, the reason I say take it early, that line's down to 5.5 now. You lost a point if you waited. If you liked it at the beginning of the week, you're like, I don't know if I like it right now. It's better to take it then, because when you have a home dog, typically teams want to bet that home dog, right? Because you're at home, fans in the stadium. Last year was a fluke, but fans in the stadium, that line's going to swing to the home team's favor the longer you wait, right? Because then I don't like the Bears. I like the Bears. I like 2 field goals being in the way of them. 6.5, I can lose by 2 field goals. Now if you take it at 5.5, you only have one field. You can only have 1 field goal in between. So I took the Bears in that one. That one's kind of risky. It's kind of my Steph Curry prayer from 6 feet behind the 3-point line, contested. Sometimes those go in, and I've been having a decent year betting NFL. I had a really bad Sunday a couple weeks ago. I don't want to talk about it, but that was when all those underdogs hit, those Jacksonville winning and stuff like that. Awful stuff. So next up, Lions at Browns. I did not touch this line. This is the one game I'm not betting this week. And here's the thing. Here's another thing. This is early in the week, right? Early in the week, I saw this line at Browns -10.5. It's already up to Browns -12.5 because Tim Boyle might be playing quarterback over Jared Goff. We don't even know if that's a good or bad thing, because Jared Goff has probably been the worst quarterback in football this year. Not all of that's his fault, but a lot of it is. He's just not that good unless he's got an offensive mastermind and a bunch of talent around him, which he has neither right now. If I had to bet, I'd go Cleveland. I'm just not going to, because I could also see just like Baker Mayfield sucks, man. Baker Mayfield sucks. And excuse me just a sec, guys. I'm gonna do something real fast. But let's see. But yeah, Baker Mayfield sometimes does Baker Mayfield things. They were looking like they're getting Nick Chubb back this weekend, which could mean a lot. I mean, they might just run the ball down Detroit's throat and then have Tim Boyle make a bunch of dumb mistakes, or Jared Goff. Quarterback doesn't really matter to me if I'm picking this. I would lean Cleveland. I mean, it's just better if you put that down and like you don't feel like an idiot, right? If Detroit covers that, like you don't feel like an idiot. You're just like, it could happen. But yeah, that one, I don't have a lot. I actually am staying away from that. That over or under 2 is 43. I mean, that doesn't really feel like there's a winning bet there, honestly. But yeah, that one's tough. I'm staying off that one. So, anyways, let's see. Let's move into the next one. Oh, Texans and Titans. A lot of people, and this is funny, man. This line has moved a little bit. This was, I believe, a 10.5 point spread at the beginning of the week. It's down to Titans minus 9.5. So that means people think Houston in this division game on the road at Tennessee, where Tennessee, I think everybody's waiting for Tennessee to shit the bed, and I'm not sure it's going to happen. I mean, maybe not till the playoffs at least. Everybody's just waiting for that bad Tennessee game. And okay, let me tell you this right now. I enjoy watching Ryan Tannehill play football about as much as I enjoy any quarterback in the league playing football. Something about him is like, it's not like you're able to doubt him within the game. You're like, he's going to do something dumb here. And you're like, oh, another great throw. Then you're like, and then you're like, oh, I forgot he could run. Oh shit. Like, he's not one of those like super freak athletes. Although he was a wide receiver, he's blown his knee out like 3 times with Miami. So he doesn't quite have the mobility that he did coming out. But I love watching Ryan Tannehill play, man. He throws a beautiful ball. AJ Brown is unbelievable. I think it reminds me of Matt Ryan, Julio Jones at peak Atlanta, like early 2010s Atlanta. When you had just Julio and Matt Ryan having like just a savant like approach with each other, because it's not like Stafford and Calvin Johnson where like it was just throw it up and see what happens. Like they were playing like NBA Street together when that happened. Like it was like remember Stretch, the guy from NBA Street, like all doing all that trick stuff and like crazy stuff in traffic. Like that was kind of the way Calvin Johnson and Stafford had. Like Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, they were surgical with each other, and like they could hit big plays, short plays, it didn't matter. And I think that that's kind of what Tannehill and AJ Brown are. I don't know about them winning deep in the playoffs, but I'm taking them, man. I'm taking them over Houston. Houston is a dumpster fire, man. Houston is a dumpster fire. Even with Tyrod Taylor, who is kind of fun sometimes. I don't think they have what it takes. I got Tennessee on that one. Yeah, no, Tennessee's defense has been sneaky good too. I think they get a lot of good interior pressure with Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry. Their corners are playing pretty well, and they might get healthy soon again too at the cornerback position. Putting Julio on IR isn't the loss that people think it is. And I think that they're able to, I mean, you can never really, Derrick Henry's the only running back that matters in the league. So it's very, very tough to say that you can replace him, because they can't. But I do think they can at least throw the ball to their running backs. And that might hurt them. But Marcus Johnson is an undercover wide receiver that had 100 yards last week. And, props to Mike Vrabel. He's my coach of the year so far. I know a lot of people are saying Sean Payton, but the Titans are unbelievable, man. They're 8-2 right now. Like they're doing stuff nobody thought they would do. And I thought Todd Downing would come in there and ruin it, but they're unbelievable. I like them covering against the Texans. Next up, Packers Vikings rivalry game here. I bet Vikings money line, and I already hate it. I bet Vikings money line, and I got it at plus 140. But still, man, I'm not. It's one of those things where I'm reading too far into the way Aaron Rodgers is playing, and people should know that I probably like Aaron Rodgers more than Packers fans do, because if you know Packers fans, they don't even really fuck with Rodgers like that. But just on a non-football level, I've been a big fan of what he's done this year, and stuff, and just shitting on public health and stuff, which hey, anybody who listens to the shows we make, I mean, of course he's going to be at the top of the list. Plus he's a Cal guy. Loved him since college, but he hasn't really played all that well this year. Stat wise, he's not really stuffing the stat sheet. Makes big throws when he needs to, but I mean, even last week against Seattle, their defense won that game for him, and they just made a couple big plays, and their running backs have been doing a lot of work. You have no Aaron Jones this week, but AJ Dillon is a dog. So Quadzilla, as they call him. The thing is I could just see in the dome. I think Minnesota has an awesome home field setup. Minnesota, this is a must-win game for Minnesota. They have to win this game or else they're done. And I still think there's a chance Minnesota sneaks into the playoffs. And I took a plus 500 bet on them making the playoffs a couple weeks ago. They've had some tough losses. I mean, like just some brutal losses. That Sunday night game against the Cowboys, the missed field goal against the Chargers. So I think they're going to play it close. The line's only at 1.5 now. Probably safer to bet the Packers if you're going to do that. But I said fuck it, YOLO, fucking Minnesota money line this week. I think Kirk Cousins is actually playing really good football this year. It doesn't seem that way. He didn't play well against Dallas, but they got those two dogs at wide receiver. Dalvin Cook is a beast. Alexander Madison's really good. And Tyler Conklin's a decent tight end. He's in that, like, there's like 5 good tight ends in football. And then there's like the Zach Ertz, Tyler Conklin, CJ Uzoma. That there's just like interchangeable guys that will get you 40 yards and maybe a touchdown every other game. Like that's all the other tight ends in football. And then defensively, they have a good pass rush. They lost Danielle Hunter for the year, which is a huge, huge loss for them. I mean, there's really no way to replicate that, but they have been getting other, pass rush in there. So if they can keep Green Bay's pass rush at bay, I like them winning that game, and I loved the plus 140 I got from it. So I took Minnesota money line, but I would never advise any of my clients to take that. That was just again, another prayer. I'm a money line addict more than I even like betting on football. I like money lines. If I see a good money line, especially, and again, Minnesota's at home, so home dog, I take the money line, especially in a rivalry game. However, Rodgers owns the Vikings, so we'll see. Dolphins at Jets. I'm all over the Dolphins. Dolphins 3.5. That half point, that 3 point. Anybody who doesn't bet on sports, 3 points and 3.5 points is the biggest difference of any gambling spread of all time. 7 and 7.5 is very big too, but 3 and 3.5 is number one. Like, man, there's so much shit that can happen to, change that. Right. So like if you're tied and if you're tied going down to the last possession, it's tough to cover that. Right. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Joe Flacco is starting for the Jets. I picked up Miami's defense in fantasy. I think Miami's going to eat them alive. And I think there's going to be just enough. And I believe the Jets have given up 170 points in their last 4 games on defense. So even as bad as Miami's offense is, I think that they're still going to be able to score 20 points, right, conservatively against the Jets. And I don't think the Jets are going to score a touchdown in this game. So heavy on Miami in this game. Love it, actually. Not going to spend too much time on that. I'm going to get rolling here. Saints and Eagles. This is one where I like the road money line. You have the Eagles -3, but I'm taking the Saints to win outright in this game. What did the Eagles do really well the last couple of weeks? They run the football. They can run the football. They're getting Miles Sanders back this week, it seems like. Jordan Howard's done really well for them. Boston Scott's been a decent back for them. They've really manufactured yards on the ground because Jalen Hurts is a running threat. And Devontae Smith has really emerged. So what do the Saints have to counteract that? The Saints have a really good, stout defense that stops the run. They're almost best in the league against the run. And then they have a shutdown corner for Devontae Smith, Marshawn Lattimore. He'll shadow him all day. And I'm sorry, that rookie, as good as he is, he's been fantastic the last couple of weeks. 165 pounds going against a physical quarterback or a cornerback in Marshawn Lattimore. I like the matchup for the Saints. I'm picking the Saints money line over the Eagles. But if you want to mark it down, I think they're going to cover the 3 points. You didn't get the hook, right? So if it was Eagles -3.5, oh my God, it'd be the easiest bet in the world. So Washington Redskins against the Panthers. I understand that's not their name, but I don't care. I like the Panthers -3 is such an easy bet here. I think that everybody's overrating the Washington after that win against Tampa, when really any team that has a good front four and can get pressure on Brady is able to beat him in any given week. I don't think the same is going to happen with Cam Newton at quarterback. And I'm not on the Cam, Cam's going to save the Panthers and take them to the playoffs. I'm not saying that. But Carolina's defense is the fastest defense in the NFL. They have straight up greyhounds on defense, man. Insane. A bunch of guys, and none of them seem all that big except for Derek Brown, but they're flying all over the field. Hassan Reddick, Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, Stephon Gilmore. Man, what a pickup that was. And he's going to be on Terry McLaurin, which that's the number one weapon for the Redskins. And then, maybe Antonio Gibson and McKissick can get them, but they have that speed to get to the flats to stop them. And I just really like the Panthers -3 in this game. I think that's easy money. And I would actually look towards the under in this game too, under 43.5. I'm telling you, 43.5 is a small number, but I could definitely see that game being like 20-10, like not even getting near it. Niners and Jaguars. This is one I would wait on. This is one I would wait on because I'm not confident. I actually took the Jaguars to cover. 49ers are playing really good football. The last couple of weeks, at least, they're no, not against Arizona. So let me rephrase what I was saying. The Niners have played a good game, bad game, good game. I think they're set up for a bad game. Now, by bad game, I think they're still going to win this game. Don't take Jags money line. I think that's way too bold. But the Jags are a home dog, and the Jags have been playing close football, and they've covered the last couple of weeks, I believe. And even if you had that Jags money line, you'd have to be a sicko if you took the Jags money line against the Bills, but you would have won. I just would question the rest of your bets that you made. Niners, they're just so wishy-washy, man. Like they own the Rams. I had Niners money line. It was an easy bet, and people were like, nah, dude, the Rams, it's just too good. They're too talented. Doesn't matter, dude. The Niners own the Rams. They just own the Rams. The Seahawks own the Niners. Niners own the Rams. And I believe that the Cardinals own the Seahawks, if I'm not mistaken, for the most part. It's just one of those things. They all beat each other in a certain way. But and I don't know. I'm sorry. The Rams own the Seahawks. That's like the crazy thing. They own Russell Wilson. So whenever you see lines in your favor there, always remember that flow chart right there. But the Jaguars, I could see them keeping this game close. I could see a sloppy, ugly game for the Niners. They're getting healthier, which is kind of scary. You know, they have Kittle back. That really helps their run game, which was already good. They say Jimmy G's playing well, but I could see a stinker on the road for Jimmy G. But watch if this game gets to 7. If people are really hammering the Niners cover, if it's at 6.5 now, if it gets to 7, you have to take the Jaguars at that point. They played Indy well, and I think Indy and the Niners are kind of the same team, and I could see that happening. So I do like the Jaguars officially plus 6.5 there. Game of the week right here, absolute game of the week. Cowboys at Chiefs. And this is another one where the Chiefs are at home. This should be the Sunday night football game, but it's not. The Chiefs are at home, and they're favored by 2.5. I picked Dallas money line. I think Dallas is really good. They laid an egg against Denver, but every team does that. Every great team does that. They just lay an egg once a year. It just happens. Don't know why. Just happens. And the Chiefs are good. They're playing better. But I don't know that they are back. You know, I don't know if they're back yet. And I think Dallas is ready to go. They don't have Amari Cooper, right? I'm seeing in the comments. Shout out ZM. What's going on, Music Man? Oh, I know who that is. What's up, dude? I don't want to blow you up your other username, but I know you. Let's go with I took Dallas money line. I think Dallas can beat you in more ways than the Chiefs can beat you. Chiefs can beat you in one way, and that's throwing the ball. I like the over in this game. I think this is a game, if you bet overs, just take it because it's fun. You know, it's 55.5. Just bet it. Just have fun. If you bet the under in this game, you sweat a lot more, I think, right? And I could see a lot of pass interference in this game. A lot of, incomplete pass, flag on the play. Now the Chiefs have the ball at the 1 yard line, or Dallas in the same way. Amari Cooper being out definitely hurts this game, but you're still going to have Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson, and CeeDee Lamb. All three. That's a better wide receiver core than most teams have, in my opinion. And you're going to still have big play threats out of all of those guys. And then Zeke and Tony Pollard behind that offensive line. And I haven't checked yet, but they might have Tyron Smith back. So to me, it's a road money line for the Cowboys. I like taking it. I think I got it at plus 140, if I'm not mistaken, maybe plus 160. And it's a really, really, I think it's the only way to go. A lot of people are on the Chiefs. They beat the Raiders bad last week, but I don't know that necessarily means that they're back. So I'm going to wait another week before I start becoming a Chiefs bettor because I've been fading the Chiefs a lot lately. Okay. Next up, we have Cardinals at Seahawks. So I bet this game, and I don't know if Kyler Murray is going to play yet. Let me see. Kyler Murray injury. Let's see. Is he going to play? He says he's pretty close to returning. He's pretty close. Now, the Cardinals have a bye next week. So if you're Cliff Kingsbury, and they're in first place, but they're not like crushing the Rams or anything, but they're in first place. Does it make sense to play Kyler Murray this week? I know it's a division game. It's an important game. I'm not saying it doesn't, but if he's not like all the way healthy, and I believe that the Cardinals have been trying to get him back so much and it's prolonged his injury recovery. Do you play Kyler Murray in this game? No. But what I did was I made a bet on Seattle, and it was Seattle getting 2.5 points, and I took them to win outright because they're at home against the Cardinals. And I expect this game to just be kind of a ugly, gross turnover fest. And what if Colt McCoy ends up playing? I love taking Seattle at home with Colt McCoy coming to town. That's what I'm betting on. It doesn't look like Hopkins is going to play. He's still not practicing. And it does not look like Budda Baker, their stud strong safety, is going to play either. So I just love taking Seattle at home there. Russell Wilson's fingers all fucked up. Chris Carson's out for the season. So, they've got their issues too, but I think Seattle can find a way to manufacture some points and just win that game. I also like the under in that game. I didn't see what the over under was, but I feel like this is a sneaky under game. They have it at 47.5. I would go under on that game personally. I don't pick all the unders when I do this, but yeah. Okay. Primetime games, Steelers and Chargers. We don't know if Big Ben's playing. I kind of like the Chargers in this game. The Chargers are -6. I have them at -5.5 at the bet that I took. I took them get -5.5. TJ Watt's been ruled out in that game. I think Chase Claypool's going to play, but it looks like Steelers are missing their best pass rusher. Chargers are relatively healthy. And if Mason Rudolph's at quarterback, I cannot bet on the Steelers. I just cannot. It's pretty simple. Now, the Chargers are liable to lay an egg. It can happen. It has happened. Wouldn't surprise me if it happened. And the Steelers are the type of team that they're so well coached that even with this type of adversity, it could still end up being a win. But I think it's best to bet the Chargers. As long as that line stays under 7, I think you're good on that. I would bet the Chargers -6 what they have now. I have it at 5.5. Again, take your bets early. It helps you more than it hurts you. If you're looking at big picture stuff. Giants, Buccaneers. The line's gone down to Buccaneers -10.5, and it shouldn't be that high. I think the Giants are a blowout proof team for the most part. The Rams blew them out, but for the most part, they play good teams close. Daniel Jones keeps you in games. He can also take you out of games from time to time. He takes you out of wins, but keeps you in games, if that makes any sense, right? Everybody knows a quarterback like that, where they're good enough to keep you within a touchdown, but you're never worried about them beating you, And I'm sure every fan of a team has a quarterback that played for their team that's like, yep, that guy. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the Terrell Pryor Raiders were like that. He would play all these close games and then they would lose. And so I think what I would say about this game is that the Bucks don't have any corners, right? And Saquon Barkley might be coming back, and that doesn't really mean anything to me, honestly, like Saquon Barkley, because Tampa is pretty stout against the run. But in the past game, it could help. I see the Buccaneers winning this game by like 6 or 7 points, but I have it at plus 11.5, and I took the Giants. And just on Monday Night Football, that just makes a lot of sense to me. I think the Buccaneers are hitting their lull right now. I think we're about 2 or 3 weeks away before Brady starts cycling up on whatever the hell he takes to adrenochrome, child's blood, whatever. Don't ask how the sausage is made, right? It's Brady. I think that you're not going to have Antonio Brown this week. It doesn't sound like. Shout out to my guy Antonio Brown, base as fuck. But I just think you got to go Giants, man. It's really tough to cover over 11 points in the NFL. unless it's just an absolute dog shit team, which I don't believe the Giants are a dog shit team. They could easily have a couple more wins than they do. So yeah, that's what I take. So that's all the games. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning into the live stream. I'll keep this up on the YouTube channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Oh yeah, the Steelers don't have TJ, Minka, or Joe Hayden in the secondary. So yeah, I feel great about that Chargers bet, honestly. So yeah, shout out to everybody who tuned in. My name's Glen Rockney. You can follow me on Twitter at Glen Rockney, at RareCandy Pod 1 for the podcast account. I'm always tweeting from there too. So all right, guys, everybody have a safe week. Best of luck to you. Don't get too mad at me if my advice doesn't pay off. I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy sitting in